Hello, 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 everyone. Sorry about that. My Zoom wanted to update. um, we are in my kitchen window today, so I wanted to show you a few things. But hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where where you're tuning in from. Welcome, welcome. Okay, have a couple things. Well, a couple things behind me I want to show you, and a couple things from over the weekend that I want to show you. Mm. All right, some caffeine here. Hey, Maple. Meow to you too. All right. Wanted to show you. Let's see. I'm trying to see what the. Hi, baby. Sorry, Maple's meowing. um, this is the plank collage puzzle. It is so beautiful. It's only 100 pieces, so I'm very much looking forward to putting this together. But this is what it's gonna end up looking like. So pretty cute for like $3.50. So another plant related puzzle, but this one's only 100. The other one that I'm working on that I had shown you all in the past with all the leaves, that's 1,000. That progress is going very, very slowly. This looks like I might be able to do it in an afternoon, so I'm gonna try to do that. See. Okay. Oh, hi, Carol Sue. Mozart is great. He's doing really great. He's fine. We actually just found out that Maple seems to have an issue with his thyroid, our cat Maple, who's right next to me right now. You want to come up? Do you want to come up? Up? Not. Our other cat Jules came running to to jump up. Okay, I wasn't asking you, but okay, this is Jules. He wanted to hop up instead of Maple. Hi, buddy. He's our oldest and largest cat, as you can see, this monster. Oh, now Maple wants to come up. Oh God, no. What did I do? um, but yeah, we just found out that Maple has a thyroid thing, and we are actually either today or tomorrow picking up tablets, and he's gonna have to be on tablets for the rest of his life. So I mean, it's manageable. So it's one a day. Um, but yeah, to keep his thyroid in check, it's I think they said it's overproductive. Um, so yeah, it explains some of his symptoms. Hello. um, but no, Mozart's great. As you can see, Jules is great, and our cat Lexi, good. She's doing great. So um, yeah, it's Maple. We were a little worried about because he was acting a little odd, and he's been like just displaying like weird behaviors. Like he was eating, and then he would get it's like he would eat really fast, and then he would get sick, and it was just like weird things like that. We wanted to make sure if he didn't have a belly thing or something, and it turned out he has a thyroid thing. So honey, I can't hold you for the rest of this. I love you very much. I'm gonna have to put you down. Hold on one second. Oh, here we go. Oh wow, Carol Sue, thank you. I did not know that. I have Vital Care with Petco, and yeah, they did give us a discount, thankfully, but because oof, that was a big hit. That was a lot of money for the testing and then for the treatment and things like that. So, but no, I had no idea that Chewy does prescriptions. So that is awesome. 1/4 of the price. That is amazing. Thank you. Hell yeah. I need to look that up now. I've ordered from Chewy before, but I had no idea they did prescription. So thank you for that. Um, I did want to show you all this book, and so um, I actually know James. I never pronounce his name correctly. Lindemer, I think it's Lindemer. Um, I actually took his class, and then I was volunteering for his department for a while um, in the New York Botanical Garden. And they released this book, him along with his colleague Jessica Allen, and so excited to see it. And I got it like a few weeks ago, and I wasn't sure. I was like, I don't think I showed everyone. So, um, this is the Urban Lichens book. So, if any of you are into urban ecology, this might be something that you might be keen to pick up. But what I love about this is not only, of course, I mean, the gorgeous color photographs, very in-depth descriptions, absolutely amazing. But what I love is the way that they ask you to measure the lichens. So some species, the way they spread is a lot larger than others, or if you kind of want to see, have like something stay as the continuous kind of comparison. So for instance, you might see, I don't know, I see it all the time online. I'm not sure about you, but a lot of folks, especially like in the miniatures community, who make little things like that, they use a banana for scale all the time. And what I found really funny is because it's an urban lichens book, they use a Metro card for scale throughout the entire book. So it's the same Metro card that they use to compare, just kind of to see to scale the different types of lichen, how they spread, the sizes of the clusters. They also use pennies as well to kind of show you. Um, and it's just such a great book. Seriously, it's amazing. um, just the how many species that they cover, and he goes really in depth into their description. So they really outdid themselves with this. This is a really up close photo, absolutely amazing. When I was volunteering at the NYBG, so it's the New York Botanical Garden, um, I was in charge of scanning and digitizing their lichen collection. So there were scientists and even just amateurs who collect specimens, and then they would give them to NYBG to either be identified or to be added to their collection. So it was one that might not already be in their collection. And they have what is called an herbarium. And so it's basically a library of samples. And they have mushrooms, they have lichens, they have mosses, and all different types of plants. It's absolutely amazing. If you ever come to New York City, just double check the time of year. They sometimes open up their herbarium for tours, and it's amazing. It's, if you want to geek out, it's absolutely amazing. And I got to work with the lichens, and so they're called the cryptogams. And so I was able to work with like mosses and lichens and digitize those, because all of these samples were actual samples. And so we were putting them basically in this box with a really great camera, and we would just take photos. Would have to make sure that the positioning was right. All the information was the label, everything, because this is what's going to be open to the public. So you can actually go onto NYBG's website and click on the herbarium, and there are some that you can actually view from wherever you are. So remotely, you can access those. So it's super cool, and it's a great learning tool that can be shared with everyone. So it was awesome to be part of the project. I was actually doing that for a while until COVID hit, and then they told us that we couldn't. And I was also working in the cold room with the fungi. So I was specifically organizing some fungi samples and drawings. And I was the only person in the room, and it's literally a refrigerator. So I would be like with a jacket and my scarf and gloves, um, just organizing and finding certain samples that they were asking for. So it was a super, super cool experience, and it sucked. I was like, well, I'm the only one in this room. Do I have to stop coming? But yeah, then that was when lockdown happened. Um, so I'm hoping to go back. It's just it's a very tedious, and it takes a long time. If you are in New York City and you're interested, um, yeah, you can go through a whole like interview process, and then they do a background check and give you security clearance. So it's very like serious volunteering. So yeah, if you want to, check out the possibilities, because they always need people to help digitize the plant samples as well. They always need help with folks giving tours through the conservatory, through the gardens. I mean, the NYBG volunteer program is amazing. So definitely giving them a shout out alongside this book. So if you have it, if you're into lichen, if this is something that you think would be really helpful. And I mean, it has also a key, so you can identify different species as well. So very common species you might come across like in urban areas, especially. So it's mostly northeastern North America, but yeah, it's worth a look. It's seriously fun to check out. And then for a book, if you're interested in herbalism. So I got this book secondhand, and I'm gonna try to see if I can finish it within the next few days, because I'm trying to put out a bunch of like book reviews and things. So it's part of like a little set that I'm hoping to do some reviews for. It's a tiny book, but it might be of interest, and it's called Women Healers, and it's portraits of herbalists, physicians, and midwives. So excited to check this out. I had read this other book that was about I think it was called like Witches and Midwives and Nurses, something like that. And it was just about how just the history of women as midwives, and then how the medical system turned to male doctors, and then kind of shunned midwives, and then started to say that midwives were witches and this whole kind of thing. It's a really short, tiny book, and I have it as a PDF as well. So if that is of interest, I'm happy to share that out. But I'm forgetting the author. But that's another one that I'm going to be covering as well. So yeah, just throwing that out there in case this is of interest. It's a short read, but it's like full of profiles of amazing herbalists and healers, midwives, just throughout history. So yeah, so really nice book. Trying to make my way through that. And then this book has been amazing. I've been reading it in chunks, and it's just great. The amount of species covered, the depth of the profiles that are done on each of these trees. It's spectacular. So it is a bigger book. But this is a natural history of North American trees. So I'm here in New York City. So absolutely wow, just taken away. The only thing I wish is that there were some color photographs for species that folks might not be very familiar with. I mean, there are beautiful illustrations, and kind of like here we go. So I mean, they do somewhat help you identify what tree you're talking about, and some recognizable kind of shapes, right, that you might see. So for instance, this is a sweet gum. So the typical little seed balls, and then these very like star shaped leaves. But not all of them are this clear. So I just wish it had some color photographs, because I feel like it would make it even more accessible for folks that are just learning how to identify trees. I feel for someone that's already working in the industry, maybe is already an arborist, this kind of helps fill in some knowledge. But if it could be such a great book for somebody that's just starting out, uh, and the only bad thing about it is just that it just doesn't feature any actual um, pictures, which I think would have been really great, because then um, I would have, I guess, recommended it more. So I do recommend it, but just I'm just gonna be transparent and let you know that there are no photos, that they're beautiful illustrations, but no photos. Um, but it's really, really a great book. So just really goes into these trees ecologies, what they were used for initially, just traditionally, uh, their rates of growth, things, how they are used in our economy, their place kind of in the ecosystem, their niche, any types of like relationships they have with like animals. Um, Really, really cool book. And I'm hoping, I have quite a few books that kind of dive into the history of different trees. But I really, this is just beautifully written, so I wanted to share it. But it is a chunkier chunkier book. Sue, color printing is much more expensive. Yes, no, absolutely, definitely is. Um, so it's great. It's great. I just, for folks that might not know what the trees look like, maybe if they would have kind of sold like a PDF with it or something that had some of those color photographs. But that's the only thing I didn't like about the book. But other than that, everything was great. Oh, Brenda, a questionable plant to repot. Okay, and you showed me the plant in October. Okay, let me see. Is it the Jocelyn, my Jocelyn at Urban Garden email, or is it the info at Urban Garden?
Okay, this is Brenda speaking. I
Hi.
haven't gotten it to you yet. I'm trying to get it
Oh,
from
no
my
worries.
picture file to you. But so continue with your conversation and I'm working on it.
Yeah, no.
And possibly maybe I'll move it from where it is and show it by video to you today.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay.
Okay.
So blessings. Thank you for noting my little message to you.
Yeah, no, of course.
Hi, everybody. Be potting, be planning time.
It
I
is.
love you all. So let me shut up. I'm going to work on it. Bye bye. I'm still here reviewing.
Let me see. Yeah, what was I gonna show? Oh, yes. Here we go. It's like tangled up in so I wanted to show you some progress. So a few weeks ago, I had sat here for a Q&A, I think, and just wanted to kind of show you some progress here. So this is a philodendron, a very odd philodendron. I call it my paddle leaf philodendron, because it's just so odd. Um, but this guy is actually putting out this new leaf right here. You can see it. And it was like a little stub last I showed everyone, and it's absolutely huge, and it is already starting to produce another one. So this has a very odd growth habit. So the stem is a creeper, so it actually like goes here, tilts, and then kind of grows parallel to the ground, with these kind of offshoots on top of it, kind of like if you see ginger, It has a very, very weird growth. And this is really hard. This is very succulent. Um, and so this leaf is the one that's attached at the base of this stem. And then this node here. So this is the node. So this is where all of that other growth is coming from. So it produced 2 leaves. So this leaf that is coming on, I'm sorry, 3 leaves, and then this little leaf that's on its way. So it grows in such an odd way. I absolutely love it though. It's such a weird one. And so this was only a few weeks. So this is about a month difference. So I figured I'd sit here to kind of show you what's happened as the temperature is it's still cold, but it's slightly getting warmer. Here in New York City, especially in our area, the magnolias are flowering, which seems a little early. A couple of our cherries are flowering, which is definitely early. Brian and I were at a walk in Central Park on Saturday, and the lesser celandine, which is this invasive plant that has spread, especially in Central Park, but it has these bright yellow flowers that look like buttercups, and they are starting to flower now, and they usually flower in May, late April, early May. So everything seems to be waking up a little earlier. So what I'm just worried about is that this happened last year. We had what is called a false spring. And so a lot of the plants started waking up really early. It's like the magnolias. And so they flower first before they put out their leaves. And they flowered and they looked absolutely gorgeous. And then we had another frost. So that's where I'm worried about that's going to happen again. And the reason that's bad is, for one, of course, I mean, all your leaves die, so that's very unfortunate. But a big detriment is that that tree isn't going to be able to get pollinated. So for instance, it wakes up too early, and so there are no pollinators. And if it wakes up too early and those flowers get destroyed, then that was its chance to kind of spread its biological data, and then but the frost destroyed the flowers, and so that was it. So it kind of messes with their timing. So especially for some species that depend on specific pollinators to kind of be there to help pollinate them, and then they wake up too early. And so that doesn't happen because the pollinators are still either underground or in like in tree hollows, or they're not awake yet. They're still kind of hibernating. So it is unfortunate. But I wanted to show you that, and I wanted to show you this. So it was literally 4 weeks ago. Oh my gosh, it's even, hold on. It's tied up. It is wrapped around my peperomia. Well, hold on. It is literally wrapped around the peperomia. That was not like that. Okay, here we go. Can you let go of the peperomia? There we go. So this was only 4 weeks ago. So 4 weeks ago, I showed you this plant, and it was only in this pot, and it had growth like this. It had 2 little strings like this, but nothing was over the side of the pot. It was all in the pot. And I put it right there. As you can see, this is a Western window. I put it right there. I gave it a good water, and this is what it's done in a month. So this is what it's done in a month. That's absolutely bonkers. I have had, this is a Serpigia. I have had Serpigias for years. They do go through growth spurts, so it'll be where they kind of do nothing for a really long time, and then all of a sudden you get pops of new growth. But never this fast. So I have a what's it, the chain of hearts. Um, and while it's beautiful, it doesn't grow very quickly. And I even have it with a grow light. Barely growing quickly. It's just kind of, it gives me a new leaf here and there. But no way. Then I have a big one by my other western window in our living room that is just a regular chain of hearts. And it is putting out new growth, but again, it's not changing in length. Like it's the same length. It just looks like the shorter one, the shorter vines kind of are getting new growth. But this guy, and this is the chain of arrows. It was the Serpigia, I think think they call it like string of spades or sometimes too. But they have much more pointed leaves as opposed to the little heart-shaped kind of rounded leaves of the other Serpigia. Absolutely beautiful. I don't know. I didn't do anything to it. So, but I really wanted to show everyone because this has been shocking me how fast it's been growing. It has been pretty, I mean, our kitchen stays about 70 degrees. It can get pretty cold sometimes. Um, and I'm always checking the humidity to kind of keep it in like 40s, 40s at the very least. Um, but I really haven't done anything to this guy, and he just exploded. And it's been a month, and it went from being in the pot with like this, no vines like that, to this. It's nuts. Like it's like my arm, even more. So I really wanted to show everyone this because I've been getting such a kick out of it. I don't know, it's growing like inches a day. So yeah, I have no idea. This is this is my second string of spades. The first one I had gotten was a little 2-inch plug, like the little pots, and I had it over there with my light and my grow light, and I think it didn't like the grow light, so it's like I wasn't keeping up with its watering, and it was such a little thing. So when I saw this bigger one, I was like, all right, let me try a bigger one. And I don't know if anybody else has a string of spades, and does yours also grow at the rate that this one does? Because this is spectacular. I have never seen something like this. I have no idea. I didn't do anything different. I didn't add fertilizers. I didn't do anything. I just soak it. I've probably given it 2 soaks since I've owned it. I've only soaked it twice. I give it, so with these Serpigia, they like drenching, and then they call them drowning. So drenching and drowning. So I drown it in that I give it a really good bottom water soak. It gets completely evenly soaked, and then I put it away, and I basically don't water them for about a month. So I water these maybe every 3 to 4 weeks. So I had it for the first month. It really didn't do anything, and now the second month it like put out all the growth. So very odd. I don't know. But I'm gonna keep it going. It's wrapping. Here we go. You can kind of see the curve. So it was wrapping around peperomia. I have a peperomia incana around that corner there. And it was just wrapping away on it. I don't know. This is so weird. It's so cool though, but I really don't know because I didn't do anything different. Um, and I didn't realize that their growth was that fast. What else? Oh, and I had shared that I had a Bromarks fantasy. that had gotten completely wrecked. So I've just been nursing a stick, and it gave me the cutest little leaf. Like that's all it gave me, but this itty bitty, teeny tiny little leaf. So that means it's going to start at least collecting some sugars. So it's going to start photosynthesizing. And so that's going to help give more energy to produce more growth. But it was just a stick for a while. But it does look like there's some growth that is going to start generating. So I'll keep a close eye on this one. But I just thought it was so cute. It's this itty bitty little leaf. It's beautiful. It's just so tiny. It has, if you've ever seen a Burl Marx fantasy, it's just, they have these really beautiful veins, especially on the underside. And the leaf itself is beautiful, but it's like that big. So I don't know. Oh, George, can you take a cutting now? So if you're referring to the Serrapigia, I mean, it's pretty fresh growth. I've usually taken cuttings from Serrapigias when they harden off. So when the little vines are just kind of yeah, they harden off. They're not as fleshy. I haven't tried to do a cutting when they're fresh like that. Um, so I'm not sure if that would be a hindrance if I were to cut them that fresh, but that's all like within a month. That's all new, beautiful, new lush growth. That's still very tender. I mean, technically, you probably could. Usually, especially with like shrubs and trees that you are able to kind of do they call it, oh, is it vegetative propagation? So to where you do cuttings, usually it is that new growth. But I personally haven't tried it with Serrapigia. I've always tried Serrapigia when like the vines are harder and the leaves are kind of more plump and kind, not as new. But I would like to try it. I feel kind of bad cutting it though. So I don't know if I'll maybe wait a little bit and then I'll snip one off and see and compare it to maybe on the same plant vine that has kind of hardened off a little bit. That'd be a fun experiment. So I might do that. um, oh, that's a good question. So Sue is asking, can you place a node in the soil without cutting off? Oh yeah, absolutely. And so with Serrapigia, what they do is that they create these little kind of rhizomes. So right where, so as you saw with I'll show you here, hold on. So here, so as you can see, all the leaves are in pairs. So there's two leaves at every junction here. So every node, there's two little leaves. So they call them sometimes butterflies because people will cut them here, and you just get left with those two little leaves, and that's what you use to propagate. What's even better is, yes, you can put these in soil. You can wrap them around, or you can put them in like a different pot. When they start producing, it looks like a little potato. Looks like a little floating potato, and it starts to form like right at the node. And that you can just put superficially in the soil. You don't want to like bury it deep, just superficially, and it'll take root. And then you can absolutely propagate it that way. So this you could definitely do that. So yeah, that is definitely an option, and then that wouldn't entail cutting it. So you could do that. So those are great ideas if you have like really long vines that you want to you want to root, but you want to increase the potentiality of success. So what you can do is actually, you can do this with pothos. Pothos doesn't create the little rhizomes, but you can just do that where if you have a big vine, put another pot next to your plant, and you can use pins. So they're called like botanical pins or flower pins. They kind of look like really long staples. And I actually think I have a few here in my kitchen. Hold on. I think I do. 1 second. Shoop, I do. Okay. So these are botanical pins. So they look like a really long staple. And so what you do with these is that let me see, can I do a demo? Um, so basically, if let's pretend you had your pot of soil, you would put this over your vine like this, and then pin it into the soil so it holds it down. Um, and yeah, you can wait until it actually roots. And then if it roots successfully, that's when you can make your cut. So in the meantime, it would be getting fed nutrients from the mother plant while it's starting to take root. And then, yeah, when you feel comfortable, you're like, all right, it looks secure. It looks like it's going to be okay. You can sever the bond, basically. But yeah, you can absolutely do that. Yes, layering, exactly. So you can absolutely do that. Um, absolutely. Oh, Leona, a great question. How do you keep gnats away from your plants? A great question. So a couple ways. So the best way, quite honestly, is to let your plants dry out. So gnats, they have this life cycle where the adults are more annoying than anything. They're not going to harm your plants. So the gnat itself, the adult gnat, is harmless. It's just really annoying, but absolutely harmless. It's the larvae that might be problematic. And so, but however, the larvae can only survive if you have moist soil and if your soil has fungus. So that's what they feed on. Now, if you have young seedlings or plants that you just recently transplanted from, let's say, a water propagation to a pot, so their roots are still pretty tender or really small, then yes, if you keep that moist and then mold starts to grow, then the fungus gnats will now see that as a breeding ground and will then lay their eggs, and then the larva will come out. They will eat the fungus in the soil along with some of your roots. Now, this won't happen with larger established plants. Like the larva would still grow in the soil, but they don't really attack established roots. They are very attracted to this very young, tender roots, right? Because it's just easier to eat, as opposed to like a really strong, big established root that has the plant can release chemicals, to protect itself. It's a completely different situation. But if you just take away the breeding ground, so by keeping your plant somewhat drier, letting it completely dry out so that the first couple, because the gnats actually reproduce, I believe, in the first 2 to 3 inches of your soil. So if you let that dry out, some people just do exclusive bottom watering. For the most part, all my plants get bottom watered. So therefore, that top soil doesn't stay consistently moist because water is only going to the bottom. There is the option of also when your plant needs to be repotted, making it more airy. So removing anything that's going to stay moist for a really long time. So maybe your soil mix might be really heavy on coco coir or peat moss. And these have very good like moisture retention qualities. So by kind of taking that out, maybe adding in something like leca, which are these little clay balls, or adding some type of like rocks or perlite, even something like that, where it'll kind of break up the soil a little bit more, get more oxygen in there so it's not kind of sitting wet all the time. That can be really effective. But what if, right, let's talk about the scenario. What if you have a plant that has to stay pretty moist, right? That's how it's going to survive. And you can't just let it dry, that could potentially kill the plant. So there are those types of scenarios as well. And for those, I would recommend springtails. So it just so happens my springtail colony is up here. So I can bring this down. I have some propagations in front of the little door here. So 1 second. Oh, here, this is this Denium that I have that is absolutely bonkers. It's growing in crazy ways, but it just put out all these huge leaves. It's such a funny looking plant. And if you were here the last time, I was just remarking that I saw it at the shop, and I thought no one's gonna buy this because it looks so weird. But it had like 2 or 3 leaves. This poor thing was not doing well. And yeah, I brought it home, and it's just been putting out a bunch of leaves, and it looks hilarious, but I love it. It looks interesting. Let me, there we go. My mister, and awesome. So I have a springtail collection right here. There are lots. I don't know if you could see them. You see these
Yeah,
little,
I can see. I can see. Where do I buy that from?
there you go.
I can see it.
You might have to find a specialty seller. There are places you can order them online, but you see these little white things moving around.
Yes.
And it's a really easy setup. So all you do is you can get one of these kind of, you can reuse a takeout container. And oh, they're jumping. So they're called springtails because of that. So they kind of look like little white fleas.
I see that. Yeah.
They're not harmful in the slightest way. They're absolutely harmless. And then there's some horticultural charcoal in there because they feed on that. And then I also feed them wheat germ, which is right here. I have everything like within arm's reach.
I see.
Length today. That was like not on purpose. Like everyone, we did not script these questions. Like it just happens to be that I'm sitting here today. But yes, my nutritional yeast, and then and okay, I've had the same one since I've had this colony for years now. I literally just take a pinch. So look how much I still have.
That's nutritional yeast.
Yes, nutritional yeast. And then
Okay.
all I do is take a pinch, and it's kind of like fish flakes. So I just kind of do that. And then I give them some spring water. I just always make sure that the bottom has some water in it. They float on top of the water, so it doesn't drown them. But you only want to keep a little bit because it just adds that moisture. So you don't want to fill it up. So it's just a little bit to keep the bottom kind of with a little water, and that's it. And keep them out of sunlight. So they're actually on my shelf in the back corner, so away from the sunlight. So they don't really like sunlight. But yeah, you do this, and then what happens is that when you're ready, you have your plant, and it's getting fungus gnats, and you're like, all right, I need to bring in the big guns. You can take a little piece of horticultural charcoal from here, put it onto your plant's soil, and what these guys do is they'll spread and they'll start eating all the fungus in your soil. And what happens is that then they outcompete the fungus gnats, but they don't harm your plant in any way. So you kind of pick the lesser of, So it's like you might think, some people I know, I've gotten many clients that have reached out thinking they have an infestation, thinking that they're what are these bugs, and I can assure them, no, they're not harming your plant. They're actually really good to have on your plant, but they're not on your plant. They're in your soil. And yeah, they won't mess with your plants, but they'll eat that fungus, and then it keeps the fungus gnats at bay. So this is what I primarily use for any species that I have to keep somewhat moist. And so this was like for my papyrus that I had for a little while. I was using this for some begonias that I had to keep really wet for all my terrariums. So I have some bioactive terrariums. And so I needed to get these guys. And yeah, there's a lot. So they just it looks like they just had another generation. Hard to see, but look at all, these are all,
Oh, yes, I see them. Yeah,
all these little babies in
okay.
comparison to the adults, which are pretty big.
So,
So yeah,
okay,
really easy.
okay, okay. Thank you. So I shouldn't put no fresh soil on top.
No,
Okay, no more additional soil. Okay.
no. If you have sometimes if you're really in a pickle and you don't know, you can't get your hands on them or anything like that, adding a layer of like diatomaceous earth is really helpful. Some people add a layer of sand, but the problem with that is that there might still be some pockets, and it doesn't necessarily kill the larva, but the diatomaceous earth, so it's like a white powder, and you can kind of create like a layer of it. And what happens is as it starts to kind of work itself into the soil, but then also as the larvae try to work themselves out, after they change to flies, to the fungus gnats, as they come into contact with the powder, it's non-toxic. How it works is that it basically, they're fossilized diatoms. And so they're these teeny tiny microorganisms that were made out of silica. So they're like little diamonds. And so what happens is that when an invertebrate, so a little insect or something within that realm comes into contact with the powder, it's basically getting stabbed repeatedly. And that's what kills them. So it's a kind of passive form. So there's no poisoning involved. It's just literally they're being stabbed to death.
Okay. And how are you pronouncing that?
Oh, diatomaceous earth. And so you might see it called DE. I would recommend the food grade version because people do eat it. They add it to smoothies and things. So it's a silica supplement. And so it's safe to use around children, around kids. The only thing, and I have asthma, so I can attest
Me
to this.
too. Yeah.
Oh, you too? Okay.
Yes.
The only thing is very fine powder. So when you open the bag, do it with a scissor, because it's one of those where you tear and you pop open. I would recommend doing it with a scissor because if you pop it open, it's such a fine dust, kind of like flour. It does.
Okay.
And then because it's these little sharp little things, you feel it in your throat, and it's not a fun thing. So if you cut it with scissors and you open it very slowly, it doesn't cause the puff.
Okay.
So yes, so as someone who did that,
I figured that.
yes, and has asthma, that was not very pleasant. So I warned folks, like, yes, be very mindful of that. But otherwise, I mean, diatomaceous earth is amazing. So you can use it. I even used it. It was like 2 summers ago. They were doing construction on our stoop, and we happened to have a colony of ants that lives like right by our stoop.
I did that too in the spring.
Oh, you too? And so it's like, oh man, they started coming in.
Mine's an ant. Yeah.
Yeah, they like, and we're on the 2nd floor, and we would open the window, and there was like a line of ants progressing up the side of the
You frozen.
There we go.
Okay.
I think I froze. But yeah, they progressed up the side of the building, and they started getting into the windows. And so I used the diatomaceous earth, and I just made like a barrier on the side of my window, and that was it.
Oh. Where do you get it from?
I ordered mine off Amazon.
Amazon.
I know you can order it from places like, I think Tractor Supply has it. You might be able to get it from like other home goods type of stores, but I know Amazon definitely. But I
Okay.
recommend the food grade version, just, especially if you have kids or or pets. So it's
Hmm.
safe
Yeah.
if like a dog or a cat were to like see the powder and lick it or something like that. So
Exactly. Yeah.
you don't have to worry about any poisoning or anything.
Yeah.
They might not like it, but
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
you're
you.
welcome. George. So George says, I heard that if you put a thin layer of inorganic top dressing like pebbles, fungus gnats isn't an issue. So the issue with that, similarly to sand, is that what ends up happening is that in the long run, it can be very kind of, I guess, what basically happens is that it starts to lock in moisture in your soil. So it disrupts the permeability of the soil and the way that oxygen gets in and out. So it doesn't necessarily kill the larva at the time. So they'll kind of keep living under the soil for a while. It's just when they try to get out, it'll either be very, very difficult. They'd have to find a pocket if possible, or then they do die because they can't get out. But what ends up happening is that because you disrupt that impermeability, especially if the rocks aren't porous, if they are just like act like solid rock, it holds that moisture in longer periods, and so it actually might promote the growth of mold, and so it just ends up kind of being counterproductive, I guess is the word I'm looking for. But yeah, it can end up backfiring basically. So with the at least with the diatomaceous earth, it's very thin. And what happens is you're not like dumping a whole thing. You're doing kind of like a thin layer on top, but it works its way into the soil. So it starts to kill them in the soil. And then if you are watering on top, you do have to replenish that along the way, but it kind of starts working its way into the soil. So it just kind of works a little bit, kind of like more with the soil, when the layering can end up causing kind of locking in that moisture and making it more difficult for oxygen to kind of permeate through, because your roots do need oxygen. So it can end up backfiring. So yes, Sue. Yes, the diatomaceous earth, exactly. So it's stabbing them, and so for some little invertebrates, it doesn't kill them right away, the diatomaceous earth. But what happens is they get dehydrated. So they have like all these openings essentially, and then they get completely dehydrated. So that is, yep. It's a horrible way to go. But it is a very effective way. You can also use diatomaceous earth by brushing it on top of the leaves as well. If you have, let's say, like aphids, kind of using a paintbrush and putting it at the nodes where maybe aphids keep coming back, things like that. So it's very, very fine, very, very lightweight, where it won't damage the plant itself. But yeah, it'll be effective to things that are trying to actively attack your plant. So yeah, but it's cool. I like diatomaceous earth. I've been trying. So ever since I had my, I think it was in 2017 that I had my first thrip situation that took out my syngonium collection that was in my bathroom. I had about a dozen different syngoniums in there. And I used, I think it's called Captain Deadbug. I used that, and it was just really harsh on my leaves. I think the only things that survived that thrip infestation were my pothos cuttings, and which were epipremnums, and my spider plant cuttings. Other than that, all of I think like one piece of Tradescantia. um, but all my syngoniums died as a result of I think the combination of the thrip infestation and then my use of that spray. So it's a systemic. So basically what it does is it poisons the plant, but not to harm the plant, but rather whatever bites into the plant then gets poisoned. But it can be very harsh. And so I think that's why I recommend, if you're going to use that, it's very effective, but do a test patch. So spray like one leaf and wait 24 hours and see how it handles it. But it was after that, and just I just wanted to see like, well, what else could I do to work with the plants where I don't have to spray actual chemicals on them. And then I remembered when I was because I went to an agriculture high school, and so we used to use ladybugs, and then I thought, well, what are other biological controls? And so that's when we started using lacewings and ladybugs and predatory mites. I've also used nematodes as well. So the only thing with nematodes is you have to keep your soil moist, and that's hard for plants that don't want to stay moist. So they'll die as soon as your soil dries out. So it can be like $25–30 to get them. And then what you basically do is you get all these eggs and you put them into water, and then they hatch essentially. And then you water your plants with that water. And so if you have fungus gnats, or you have nematodes or other things that are living in your soil that are a detriment to your plants, they're harming your plants, then by putting those nematodes in there, they hunt them. They hunt those creatures that are up to no good in your soil. But then as soon as the soil dries, it also kills the nematodes. So while it's cool and effective control, it's not a very long-term solution, because as soon as it dries, you would have to get more if your problem continues. So that was the only bad thing about that. It is great for hydroponic systems and for seedlings or some things that are staying consistently moist. Then yes, it's great. Nematodes work great. I tried them, I used them, but again, my plants, a lot of them are like succulents, things that want to dry out. So I can't keep them moist. But yeah, nematodes are pretty cool. That one was a pretty cool experience to work with. And they don't harm your plants in any way. I mean, there are certain species of nematode that you wouldn't want in your plant, that attack roots and things like that. But no. And I actually did want to show you this guy. This is a Euphorbia millie, and I got it, and a lot of the leaves were like charred, they were out in the cold, but it started pushing out. So all those old leaves, I kind of let them fall on their own. I didn't really want to yank anything out, because this is a Euphorbia. And whenever you damage them, they actually leak a white latex, a sap, that can be very irritating to the touch. But I didn't really want to mess with it too much. So I kind of left it, but it started producing all these leaves. You can see it's like all these leaves are coming out. They're all fresh. They have that little twinge of like an orange pink. So when they're fresh, and then they harden off into these really pretty green leaves, and then it produced these new flowers. So when I got it, it had these hot pink flowers on them, and then those have since dropped off, and then it produced these really pretty light pink flowers. But so far so good. It seems to like the spot, and it's producing more and more leaves. It's just putting so much more growth out. So this one had sustained cold damage. And another one that sustained cold damage that I wanted to show you what cold damage looks like is I had picked up a Scindapsus, and I have quite a few. I love Scindapsus, but it was not even a 5-minute walk to the car. So it was it was maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes exposed to in the 30s. Basically, it was like 36 degrees. I had taken the plant and literally kind of did this as we were walking because I wanted to protect it somewhat. It looks like that wasn't very effective. It still got cold damage, and I wanted to show you what that looks like. So now that it's settled down, the cold damage has set in, I can actually show you what this looks like. So I left the leaves on purpose so that I could show you. But yeah, it literally burns these leaves. So these are leaves that are still working fine, but they have that cold damage. This was a new leaf that was forming, totally got destroyed. This leaf completely can hear the crisp, but there's a new leaf coming out, so that's fine. But this leaf totally, this leaf also, look at the damage on that. And this is all caused by the cold. And so what's happening is that when your plant is exposed to freezing temperatures, basically the cells inside of the leaf, this leaf is perfectly fine, but the cells inside of the leaf that are full of water basically kind of swell and burst because they freeze. And so they freeze, and so it's like boop, boop, and it causes cell death. And so that whole sections of your leaf get damaged, and then it looks very much like they got burned. And so that's what ended up happening here. So I mean, there's some gorgeous leaves on here that I'm happy didn't get affected. Like this is such a pretty leaf. It's hard to see here, but this is all silver. All like a bunch of silver splash on here. This one's really pretty with some silver splash. This was a pretty leaf. It has like a silver edge with silver splash, but it only seems like this is damaged. But yeah, it unfortunately, I thought it was quick enough. I wasn't quick enough. So I literally sprinted to the car. And it wasn't enough. It totally still got burned. So just wanted to show you what that may look like. And sometimes it does take at least 24 hours for that start to show. So sometimes you might get home and you think, oh, I made it. It's perfectly fine. And then just wait. Wait, give it 1 to 2 days to settle in. And then you start to actually see about it. So just in case. Oh, Holly, yes, sorry about the hitchhiker. Yes, I'm sorry, I completely blanked on that. I think you had sent me some closer up pictures. And so I'll try to see if I can if I can identify it. Thank you for the reminder. I completely blanked. I've been I've been like so swamped. If anybody, I'll do the call out there. If anybody would be interested in volunteering with Herbalists Without Borders. So I'm the new executive director. And it's just been really hard because we had some volunteers at the time when I was assistant director. And after I became executive director, people's lives changed, It was like last fall, and people were going back to like regular hours at work or taking on seasonal positions, or just life was happening. And so folks were having to leave. And so that has left me kind of without any extra support for the nonprofit that I am now spearheading. And so it's been a lot. I've been doing 50 to 60 hour weeks, and I am yeah. I'm like a zombie. So I know I haven't been paying attention to my urban garden inbox. And yeah, I have to catch up on a bunch of emails that I know are still in there. And yeah, I have to catch up. But thank you. Thank you for that reminder, because I completely blanked on
Okay.
that.
I understand. I have the here if you want to look at the new
Yes,
growth.
yes. Let me, oh, there we go. Oh,
Uh,
wow.
That's what it looks like when it first starts. It's green, little snaky things. I thought they were going to be prawns.
I mean, they look like they would be, but then they turn into those long, straggly, like tentacles, right?
That's what happened the first time. I don't know
Huh.
what's going to happen this time.
Because I
Maybe
would
they're
totally,
maybe they're not opening up for some reason. I don't know. I never saw this grow, so I thought you.
yeah. Because I remember, yes, and that they look like these really long tentacles, and it was like the texture was different.
Yeah, it has those little balls on it. This one has those little balls. I thought they were going to turn into prawns, but I don't know.
I wonder what does a sago palm flower look like? Um,
It doesn't flower.
it doesn't flower? Okay.
Because sago is not a palm, it's closely related to a pine.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Is this a cone? What is this? Let me share my screen. So it looks like they produce some type of inflorescence, but that's not.
Yeah, that's not what I got.
Oh, wait. What's that? Is it like this?
A little bit, not really. Those little hairs are not
Uh-huh.
that long. They're not that long, but they're similar. I don't know. That's
Ew,
what
the
I
female.
thought they were. And they didn't come like in a big hunk, like a whole bunch of them in a big hunk like that.
Hmm.
I just got 2 or 3. Last time I got 4. This time I got 2. Well, I have one that never did grow up. That one that you were looking at last time, it never did. It stopped growing.
Hmm.
Yeah, those look totally different. They look fat. This one is skinny. Seems like I don't see anything in there that looks like them.
No, the closest thing is,
That's the closest.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the closest thing. Yeah, looks like those,
So
but they're not in that. They don't. I
yeah,
only
they're
got
not growing in that clustered form, right?
right.
And I would think it's too immature still to even produce that. So yeah. Yeah, I'll take a look at the close-ups and see if it looks familiar to any other any other plant that could have potentially grown in there. Because yeah, that can happen with palms. It's there's sometimes like epiphytic cacti, all different orchids, all different types of plants can kind of fall in those crevices, and yeah, and just take hold. um, so they're not necessarily harming your plant or anything, but they're just kind of tagging along. Um, but yeah, that's
Yeah,
so.
strange.
Yeah,
All right.
gymnosperms. Yes. Okay, George. Yeah. So so it's not like a true flower. It's a, what is it? Like a naked cone, or it's a cone. I guess technically a cone. right? Something, I forget what the actual term, there's a very specific term. So it's something analogous to a flower, but it's not an actual flower. So it's a very odd reproductive system, like with gymnosperms. But yeah, so it's like a flower, but not really a flower. But yeah, we'll try to figure this out, because that's from what it kind of really looks like. That's so weird. Yes, we will try to solve this mystery for you.
Well, I can't volunteer because I live in Chicago. So if you have something for me to do that can be done long distance.
Oh,
let
it's
me-
all long distance. Yeah, no, it's all remote. And so yeah, if anybody is interested in doing some volunteer work, any help is helpful.
Okay.
And I
what-
can send you more details.
Send me the details of what I need to do in order to sign up and all that stuff. I'll see if I can fit in your research party.
Thank you so much. Yeah, because even folks that are helping like find interesting articles and things like that we can about herbalism and like food sovereignty and things like that, and even growing food. So yeah, all these kind of things. I need help with like yeah, finding like that type of content. I need help with book reviews. So if anyone has read or has any books on like herbs or healing, herbal traditions from around the world, even people submitting blogs about their personal herbal traditions in different cultures. So it's like all that. So it's like there's all that content that needs to be created, but at the same time, I'm doing all the accounting, I'm doing all the day-to-day work. So it's like, it's really hard to try to juggle. I need another person to help with that kind of aspect. If I have to do the day-to-day running of the organization, it's very difficult for me to take that time to, to have some creativity in there. So yeah, but yeah, if you're interested, by all means, reach out, let me know. I always welcome the help. So yeah, definitely. And
Will do. Let's look at a couple of things on YouTube, but I haven't read any books lately. But if you have some books that you would like to be reviewed, I can do that.
yeah, and I have a bunch of books that I have been able to get as a PDF. And so yeah, if anybody's interested in like reading books and things like that, definitely that would be really, really helpful. So reach out, let me know, and I'll send you more details. And Holly, yes, Sue and Holly, I can send you both some more information on volunteering. And Terry, I grew some oxalis from corms under grow lights for a friend. She wants to know how to transition the plants to her house. That's a great question. So right now, Terry, I think you're right. You're in the tri-state area. And so now, yeah, New Jersey, there you are. So yeah, it now is a better time, like kind of going into spring. So that is a better time, because yeah, the oxalis is starting to come out. We're starting to see them in stores. Oh, thanks, Connie. Thank you. And Sue, yes, thank you. I'll send you. Yeah, I need more eyes. I was telling Brian that. I was like, I need more eyes. But yes. And but yeah, with the oxalis, so yeah, now is the time they're coming, they're kind of waking back up, they're coming out, they're going to start flowering soon. And yeah, it's like prime time right now for the oxalis. And then when they don't start dying back and going dormant until the fall. So If there's going to be a transition, maybe it is pretty cold right now. I think we're getting hit with a little extra cold this week. But yeah, on a warmer day, or if you can protect it. So a few weeks back, I had mentioned one way that I've been protecting. I should have brought it with me over the weekend, but I didn't. Is bringing kind of a lunch bag with you. So one of those like bags that they're insulated, and that is perfect for transporting plants. If you know it's going to be super cold or like super windy, that might like cold wind especially, and so you might want to transfer them that way. And then once they get to her house, I mean, it would be best if she already had, if she could try to kind of simulate the same environment. So if she has her own grow lights, kind of setting them up that way. But yeah, I mean, the oxalis, thankfully, I mean, they like bright light, and they can get very thirsty, but they're really easygoing kind of plants. And so yeah, if she can set up the grow light for it, I would say definitely kind of set it up in a general area where she's going to be keeping it, and then wait, 2 to 4 weeks before if she's going to introduce it to her current collection. But yeah, if you grew it from corms and it's good, I would just say, I think the hardest part will be getting it to her house safely from the cold. Oh, and Terry says they're flowering already. Oh, and Sue, that is great. That is a great idea. So Sue says the thermal bags from Aldi. Yes. So definitely. So any of those bags that have kind of like, it looks like a silver lining, where they're meant to be coolers. They're meant for you to take them on a picnic or to the beach or something like that. But they make really great insulated bags for plant transport. So if it's something small enough that could fit in that kind of thing, the lunch bag, it works so well. It works so well. I didn't expect, every time over the weekend, we always make a stop like in Home Depot or Lowe's to get anything that we might need, batteries, like soil or anything. And Brian and I always look at the plant section, and I thought, oh, well, I had gotten, something the weekend before, I'll be fine. And no, I saw this Scindapsus and I was like, I need this one too. So I wasn't prepared. I did not have my insulated bag with me. So I thought since we were parked so close, that it would be fine, but it wasn't. It wasn't. The thing though, if you do get any damage to your oxalis leaves now early on, it's still going to be its growing season until the fall. So it could die back. I mean, I've seen folks like even in like June, July, cut back their oxalis like all the way back, and they get another flush. So it like comes out again, even after they've done so. But yeah, no, it's good timing. It's great to hear that they're already flowering. That's awesome. And yes, and you have those insulated bags. Oh, you're babysitting her collection. No, that's great. That's great. So that'd be even nice. Like, hey, I babysitted. Here's an extra baby with the oxalis. So definitely. Oh, yes, Synth, that is very true. Cold wind is relative. Here in the Denver area, cold is under 40. Out in the area of Southern California, my home state, they complain about anything under 60. Yes, no, absolutely. Yeah, cold definitely if it's in the 30s, the 40s, basically anything under 55 can potentially damage a plant. Some plants are a little bit more cold tolerant and they can go down to 40 Fahrenheit. Pretty comfortably without sustaining, or if they do sustain damage, it's very minimal. But yeah, it usually, if you kind of want to do like a red zone, like a generalized red zone at under 55 can be a little dangerous. But again, not all. The more tropical the more like 50, 55 can be enough to cause a little bit of damage. Definitely like 30s or 40s. For some cacti, I feel like they're slightly more tolerant. It can drop down maybe into the 40s, and they're they're like okay. But yeah, definitely for tropical species, even like 50, you know, can be a little precarious. But yeah. Someone mentioned a peace lily. Hold on, I don't want to miss that question before we hop off. Here we go. Mosby, peace lily. Sure, let me see here. Let me open that up. Give me 1 second. Let me find your email.
Our poor baby just has had a hard time,
Oh,
and we don't know what to do.
see here. Oh, I see one from Brenda, and I see your Anthurium, and then what looks like spider plants. I mean, the Anthurium, just gonna let you know, looks gorgeous. Looks great. And I think this is an Aglaonema, the one that you have in the pot that has really long stems. That looks like an Aglaonema. I mean, the leaves look great. It looks like it might have just grown a little stretched because of the lighting situation. You can cut them to repot them, but if you wanted to, but I mean, the leaves look great. But let me see the other, where is this peace lily? Log into the other. There we go. So let's see if it's in this one. Ah, here we go. Peace lily needs a little bit of help, and I don't know. Let's see. Attached, where is, here we go. Okay, so here, let me share the screen. So this is the peace lily in question. I love that the tin that it's on says peace. So peace, joy, and love. So for being a peace lily. Okay, so I mean, this looks like a nice larger peace lily. I mean, the leaves look very matured. Now I'm seeing, yes, so some of that kind of weeping, so they kind of call it fainting.
Yes.
And are some of the leaves, it looks like they might have browned. Are they crispy?
A little bit. And like the ones to the right, they just totally like dipped. And we don't know what to do we've been talking to her. I hope it's a her. Trying to let her know she's welcome, watered her, fed her. We kind of don't know what else to do.
So
Please
do you happen,
help us.
of course, yeah, I'll do my best. So with peace lilies, know that they are one of the more sensitive houseplants. So
Okay.
this for all of you here, for peace lilies especially, another one that kind of falls in this category are figs. So like fiddle leaf figs, weeping figs. They can be very, very similar in that respect, where they don't usually like change. And once you find you have them at their happy place where they're happy with the light, the temperature, the kind of overall humidity in the area, when you change it, it disrupts them. And once they have like that rhythm, any kind of deviation from that rhythm will cause them to start to visually show some stress. So sometimes it could be leaf drop. This could be that, the drooping as well. So a few things. Do you happen to know what direction that sunlight is coming from? Is that southern light, western light?
No clue.
Oh, okay. If you can, always recommend using, if you have a smartphone by any chance, it has, usually they have like a compass feature, or you can get a compass app for free, and it kind of tells you which direction that light is coming from. And so what's helpful in that regard is because these can be very sensitive to strong light. So western light and southern light would be too strong for them. Northern light, it's a little too gentle, but it might just do the trick. But eastern light is really, really good. So if you have a stronger light situation, what you could do is putting like a sheer curtain. So like a curtain, it's like white or something where the light still goes through, but it's just not as intense. That wouldn't burn the leaves. So that's one thing.
We had a plant light, put a plant light on it, and you can come back up, I'm sorry. And I don't know if that's the right thing to do. You see the blue thing kind of up, that's a plant light.
Oh, there we go. Yes.
It's not on right now. The light's not on, but you said put a sheer curtain.
Yeah, if you have really strong light, if you find out that window is southern or western, so some type of barrier to just keep it. I probably wouldn't put the grow light, because you are getting a nice amount of ambient light from like the sun. So they prefer kind of like bright indirect light, unless it's like eastern light or northern light, which is really gentle, and so they can be right up against the window. Another thing is humidity. So they really like a little bit more humidity. A lot of folks tend to keep these in bathrooms. They do really well in bathrooms or kitchens, because if we're always like boiling water or cooking, it keeps the ambient humidity up here. That's why I like to keep a lot of my cuttings here and stuff. Any plants that I'm like kind of my little hospital of plants is in my kitchen for that reason. So they do prefer at least like 45% humidity and up keeps them really, really happy. So if it's very dry in your living room, because this appears to be like by a fireplace, then it might be a little too dry for that area. And then another thing is they're very sensitive to cold. So if you ever open that window, or if there's a draft coming from the fireplace, if it's open, that can also cause damage. So they like kind of warm, humid, soft light. So the grow light might be a little too much light. So that could be causing it to get slightly burned. In terms of watering, so they like to get nice and soaked, and these do tend to be want to get watered more often than a lot of other species. So this is probably a plant you will have to water at least like once a week. So you just want to check if you stick your finger in the soil and it's still super, super wet, don't water it. Just wait until you stick your finger in the soil and like the top is slightly dry, but you feel like there's still a little bit of moisture at the base. So it's starting to dry out. You will start to see the plant will kind of start to do like a little faint. It's
Okay.
not as dramatic as this, but you can just kind of see a slight difference. And then you give them a really good soak, kind of keep them going. But if it's really, really well soaked, I wouldn't add more water because that could cause root rot.
Okay.
So
So can you say that again? You said put
yeah,
your
of course.
finger in. You said put your
Yes.
finger in the top layer if it's, I didn't hear the
Yes.
rest.
So if you hold on, here we go. So I'll use this as a as an example. I'll stop the share here so that here we go. So I'll use this guy as an example. This is a rickrack cactus that I love very much. So you're gonna stick your finger in the soil. And so
Okay.
if you feel that the soil is still really wet, right? Like the top is like that deep brown, it looks super, super wet. I would not water it. I would wait. Now, peace lilies don't want to dry completely out. So in the difference, so let's say this guy, it wants to completely dry out before I water it again. Peace lilies don't. Peace lilies would want it to kind of dry and still be somewhat wet. Um, and then yeah, and then get watered again. So what you could do is you stick your finger in, and
Okay.
you might feel like the top, like if like half of it is still is starting to get really dry, but you can just maybe the tip of your finger, you feel a little bit of moisture. That can be enough where you can give it another bottom water. And so
Okay.
with bottom watering is I just put them into, I have like a bunch of like Glad food containers that I purchased.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you can just save some just for your watering. So
Okay.
what I did is I got like a pack of 3 for $2, and they're the perfect size. And so I can just put, so I have them in like different sizes, and I keep them
Okay.
on top of my fridge. And so what I do is I just put it inside, and then I fill it up about like 1/3 of the way. And then what happens is that through the drainage holes, it just sucks up that water.
Okay.
And it's very passive. So I know it got watered really well and evenly because it's going from under, and it's just
Okay.
being pulled up through capillary action. And so it's just a really nice, even type of water versus when we water our plants. And let's say, okay, I'll use this as an example. This is a spray bottle. Let's pretend it's a watering can. So,
Okay.
but what happens is that a lot of folks, when they have their plant, when they water it, they do this. And then that's it. The problem with that is that you're only watering, really, the water might not get displaced enough. So it's only going to that section of roots. So
Okay.
all of the roots on this side aren't getting watered. And so what ends up happening is this side is doing beautifully and growing,
Okay.
and this side is looking really bad.
Okay. Okay.
And so if you are using a watering can, one, you want to make sure that the excess water can escape. So you want there to be drainage holes in your pot. And now if you're growing your plant exclusively in water, then that's not relevant. But if you do have a pot and there's drainage holes, you want to make sure that the water can escape effectively. And then you're taking your watering can and you're doing this. You're kind of going around and trying to go evenly so that you go evenly around to dispense your water versus just pouring it in one little corner. Because again, that corner is going to be fine, but the rest of the plant is not. Because a lot of these plants, they're actually not one plant. So if you have a pothos, Scindapsus, even Monstera, and especially these rickrack cactuses, each of these are a separate plant. So this is so what happens is that they're basically a bunch of rooted cuttings they put in a pot, and then it makes it look like this beautiful, lush, full plant. But these are probably like 10 different plants. And so if you're watering it, and that can happen with the peace lily too, there might have been a bunch of little segments that were put in to make it look like a cluster. And so it looks like a full, beautiful plant. But if you're only watering one section, you're only watering these plants, and you're not watering those plants.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they end up dying. But yeah, so that can happen. That absolutely can happen if you're top watering.
We need to
Can you-
transplant.
Quick question,
Yes.
another question. When will we know? My mom was asking when to put it in a bigger pot.
Great question. So with peace lilies, they don't mind being a little root bound. So that means when the roots kind of start to circle the pot a little bit, they don't mind a little bit of being like root bound. They kind of prefer it. But if you start to see roots escaping the bottom of the drainage holes, like a lot, not like one or two, but like a nice amount. Also, if you start seeing roots on the top of the soil, so basically, they start to run out of room because they can't effectively like move or
Mhm.
breathe or take up water, and the soil starts to get really displaced on top, and you see a bunch of roots like starting to kind of peek in, or if you pull it up and it's like really thick where there's no openings of the like with the roots, they're all like interlaced and locked. That's definitely very, very root bound. It's one thing if they start to kind of circle the pot, but if they're really like enmeshed, the problem with that is that then they're like so locked in that the water can't go through, oxygen can't go through. So, but peace lilies, they don't typically need to be repotted for very long amounts of time. So for years at a time.
Oh, okay.
And they are very sensitive to being repotted. So that's always a very big risk. So I would say absolutely don't repot unless you absolutely have to,
Okay.
because they tend to go into transplant shock. So when you do kind of pot them, if you wanted to, let's say if and when you're gonna repot them, I would say to get a pot that's about 2 inches wider and 2 inches taller. So it's a very gradual change, very small
Okay.
change. And then what you can do is you kind of prep your new pot with a little bit of little soil, and then you kind of try to remove the peace lily in the root ball, kind of as intact as you can, and then kind of place it into the new pot and then backfill it
Okay.
so that
Okay.
you're kind of not doing any damage to the roots. So I wouldn't do those, like sometimes you want to tease the roots out and get some of that soil out. I would not do that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
hope that helps.
Yes. Yes. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Gabby, is it best to bottom water everything? So not necessarily. The plants that I usually don't bottom water are plants that have very shallow roots, where the bottom watering wouldn't work very well. And this could be the case for maybe a species that specifically has very shallow roots, or newly propagated plants. So I just potted them up. The roots really aren't that established. So I wouldn't want to fill all that soil with water, because those roots can't effectively take that up. So it's going to end up being too much water. So those I do use a squirt bottle. Do I have a squirt bottle behind me? Oh, I do. I use this little squirt bottle, and I kind of go around so that it just moistens the top like inch or two of soil, and not the entire thing gets saturated. But for me, the majority of my plants are all, except for like my cuttings, of course, and anything I just recently transplanted, they all get bottom watered. So all my epiphytic plants, all my Hoyas, even like my Hoyas that have, like this one's in pond, it gets bottom watered. So it has these, and so I just bottom water this guy. So yeah, so other than my propagations, so these, of course, I can't bottom water these, and so I just let me I have to, this guy really dried out. There you go. And so except for like my little propagations that I save all these like little glass things, or if I find really cute like shot glasses or things at thrift shops, like these were like a set of like little shot glasses I saw, and I thought they were super cute for propagation. But yeah, so these I use a squirt bottle, and I top water them. And if I were to then transfer that into soil, yes, I would definitely do that. Yeah, and yes, and Brenda, yes, I will respond to your email. Yeah, with that plant, it looks like you have an aglaonema in that pot, and it has etiolated, which means it's stretched. And so that can tend to happen when it's not getting the amount of light that it would like. And so it kind of starts growing kind of in a way where it's just trying to find the best light situation. And then those stems really can thicken. But that's a great chance where you could potentially, because of that, you could actually cut them, kind of start over. Like the base might still produce new growth if you continue to take care of it. And those cuttings, you can even put them in the same pot and kind of start them off again if you wanted to do that, so they're not as long. But yeah, I'll respond to it as an email, so no worries. But I hope that was helpful. And Brenda's also asking, if I cut the spider plant off the established roots in the dirt, will the new roots begin to occur if cuttings are put in just water as its media? So with the cuttings, so I think with the spider plant, it's more like root division can be done, and when they are babies that are kind of hanging off and they're at a nice size, you can cut those. They'll start to kind of produce these little roots, and that's when you know they're ready, and you can cut those and start those off. You can't propagate them through leaf cuttings, or I think you have to have a little bit of root to effectively do the spider plant cuttings, or even if the babies are just a little bit bigger. So you wouldn't be able to like do the little baby when it's like teeny tiny. But yeah, I mean, you can do them in water. I still have a spider plant cutting since 2017. Yeah, because it was the same one that survived the thrift epidemic that I had in my bathroom. Yeah, and it's still in water, so you can absolutely keep them in water. And that spider plant, I have it in water, and it's been in water for years. And it'll lose some leaves and then puts out new leaves, and it's just this little cutting in a test tube, and it's been there, and it just has like a really long, super long leaf, and then the other leaves are small. But yeah, you can keep them in water exclusively too, or start them off that way. Absolutely. Yeah, phototropism, exactly, George. So phototropism, so it's movement towards light. Absolutely. There's also a fun word, scototropism, and so movement away from light. And so like when certain vining plants use scototropism to kind of find scaffolding, so to find something like a wall or a tree to climb up. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, sure, Terry. Yeah, next week I can talk more about horticultural charcoal. What I can do, because I have gotten a couple questions I see in the inbox about different media. So I had someone just send me a question about how best to use like orchid bark, and if you can use just orchid bark for your orchid and things like that. So I think since next week is supposed to be a class, I think I can do a whole class on just media, on like growth mediums. So horticultural charcoal, I'll talk about perlite, vermiculite. What else do I have on hand? Sphagnum moss, I have peat, I have cocoa coir, lava rock, leca, pond. So yeah, I'll do like a little talk about these different these different types of like amendments, soil amendments, and you know what kind of situations you might want to use them with, and how you kind of mix them too, because that's why I have all the different types, because depending on the plant, that affects the ratio or the inclusion, right? Because there are some things like vermiculite that holds a lot of moisture. It's great for seedlings, but it would not be good, let's say, for me to add that to a cactus mix, right? Because that's just going to lock in too much moisture and it's going to cause rot. And so, yeah, so I wouldn't do that. So yeah, so I'll do that. I'll talk about all the soil amendments, and I'll set up my table with everything, and yeah, we'll do that next week. So thank you, Terry. That's a great one. Yeah. And so yeah, totally do that. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in and hanging out a little extra. So appreciate it. I hope this was helpful. And for those of you that emailed me, yes, I'll work on that this week to get back to you. So thank you for your patience. And for those of you that were interested in volunteering, yeah, by all means, I'll reach out. And if you're interested and after the fact, let me know. It's always welcome. The help is always welcome. So thank you so much, everyone.
Hey, Jocelyn.
Yes. Uh-huh.
The volunteers could have a Zoom meeting about what you want us to do.
Yeah.
That might be good.
Oh no, absolutely. We can do like a volunteer info meeting, and I can share the different things that would be necessary, to help out if you'd be interested.
Yay.
So yeah, this is amazing. I would really appreciate it. Yeah, any folks, honestly, it's like literally more eyes. So like helping with that. Our organization, we get donations to different communities in need. And so we have coordinators all around the country, also internationally. And so it's like also kind of being aware of, was there a disaster in a certain area? And it's just like all this. And so it's really hard to do it as one person. So I can't do it all. And I'm trying, and I'm barely sleeping. So I definitely need help. But yeah, so anything is appreciated. Even half hour of your time is appreciated. So yeah, I'll share that with everyone. And oh yes, let me put that email. So it's info@urbangarden is the best one. Jocelyn@urbangarden is just so full. But I mean, I will check the last couple messages, but it's so full. So info@urbangarden is going to be the best one. So yeah, I dropped that in the chat. info@urbangarden.eco, and urban is HERBAN, garden GARDEN.eco, ECO. So info@urbangarden.eco. Yeah, and thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. This is always a great way to start off my week. It helps me start off with like a hopeful attitude. So I really appreciate it, and it's always fun to talk plants. But thanks so much. I hope the information was helpful, and I'll see you next week. Please be safe, everyone. I can't believe it. It's the end of March. Woof. All right. Bye for now.